Welcome back to Lab Cyber. Now, for the longest time, VPNs have always been one of the most popular tools used by people who wanted some privacy and also an extra layer of security when using the internet. But in the year 2025, a lot of people are now asking the question as to whether or not VPNs are still worth buying, are VPNs still worth using. I'm going to address why this has become a very popular question. And I will also answer the question as to whether or not VPNs are still worth it. But before then, it is important to first understand what is it that VPNs can do or what they cannot do. So let's start off with what VPNs actually do. At its core, VPNs provide an encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. So whatever data goes through that tunnel will be encrypted. In other words, VPNs provide you with certain levels of privacy, and even your ISP, your internet service provider, when you're using a VPN, they will not know the kinds of websites that you visit. VPNs can hide your IP address, and of course, they also provide you with access to content or data that might be geo-restricted. But with all that being said, it is also important to understand what VPNs cannot do. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, VPNs don't provide any anonymity. Just because you're using a VPN doesn't mean that you are anonymous. Yes, it can provide privacy, but not anonymity. Your device can still be tracked via browser fingerprinting, via cookies. Also, VPNs cannot protect your devices from malware. I don't know why some people out there think that VPNs have this ability to protect the devices from malware. That is simply not the case. Now, despite the services and features that VPNs can provide for us, why is it that people are now asking whether or not VPNs are still worth it in 2025? Well, that's due to the fact now that HTTPS, the encrypted protocol version of HTTP, is now everywhere. In fact, you will be hard-pressed to find any website that isn't using HTTPS. What this simply means is that whatever data you provide to that particular website, it's going to be encrypted. So we no longer need VPNs to encrypt our data because all these websites use HTTPS. And browsers that are security focused, especially those like your Firefox, the Brave browser, they come with several features that provide our anti-tracking abilities. So again, the modern browsers we use nowadays, they have a lot of really good security features. So people are now asking, yeah, do we still need VPNs for this? Because also keep in mind that VPNs, they do cost money, even though they're not that expensive, but they still cost money. And also, one thing people don't really address is the fact that VPNs can also slow down your internet connectivity. So when you combine these reasons, and also given the fact now that browsers have become very powerful from a security perspective, are VPNs still worth it? I will say yes, but for the right type of reasons. You need to know what is it that you can actually expect from a VPN and have the right expectations. I will say that VPNs are still worth it if you're trying to access geo-restricted content. Obviously, if you're watching Netflix or Amazon or any one of these streaming platforms, they might restrict content based on where you are. So if you do want to view content that's available for other regions, you're always going to need a VPN for that, okay? Censorship is still a big thing in certain kinds of countries. So if you're in a country where you may not have access to certain kinds of websites or content, you may need a VPN to bypass those restrictions. And then if you do want to achieve a certain level of privacy where your ISP doesn't know the kinds of websites that you visit, then obviously you still want to use a VPN. And even though, yes, HTTPS is everywhere, that doesn't change the fact that public Wi-Fi attacks still do occur. So if you're going to use public Wi-Fi in places like your favorite coffee shop or the airport or in the public library, you may still want to use a VPN because VPNs still do provide that extra layer of security. But with all that being said, if you're not using public Wi-Fi, You don't really care about your ISP knowing the kinds of websites you visit. And if you don't care about geo-restricted content, then VPNs may not be worth it to you. So I hope I have answered the question as to whether or not VPNs are worth it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share this video with anyone who may feel might benefit from it. If you're new here to the channel, welcome to Love Cyber. My name is Alex. I discuss all things cybersecurity and AI. So if you do enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. If you have any questions, comments, put them down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.